Welcome to Marketing Mistakes and How to Avoid Them. I'm Stacy Jones, the founder of influencer marketing and branded content agency Hollywood Branded. This podcast provides brand marketers a learning platform for top experts to share their insights and knowledge on topics which make a direct impact on your business today. While it is impossible to be well versed on every topic and strategy that can improve bottom line results, my goal is to help you avoid making costly mistakes of time, energy, or money, whether you are doing a DIY approach or hiring an expert to help. Let's begin today's discussion.
Welcome to Marketing Mistakes and How to Avoid Them. Here's your host, Stacy Jones.
I'm so happy to be here with you all today and want to give a very warm welcome to Zac Logsdon, who is joining us to discuss his extensive experience working in sports marketing. Over the past 2 decades, Zac has worked with more than 150 sports and entertainment organizations to help drive attendance to their events and venues and improve the experience for fans and attendees. Zac is CEO and founder of Old Hat, a strategic marketing company specializing in the sports and entertainment industry. Zac successfully ran Old Hat for more than 15 years, having grown it from 1 employee with 1 client to employing nearly 100 people combined over that period and partnering with nearly every major collegiate athletic program in the nation, along with multiple professional organizations. Additionally, Zac has written 2 books on the topic of sports and/or entertainment marketing and hosts 2 podcasts on the subject as well. Today, we're going to talk about the ways in which attendance is dropping at sports and entertainment venues across the country and what stakeholders can do to change it. Zac will talk to us about the science of fan behavior and why current marketing tactics just aren't working. We'll learn what's worked from his experience, what maybe could be changed, and where other brands are missing the mark. Zac, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Well, super happy to have you. Can you tell our listeners a little bit more about your background, where you started, and what you got you to where you're at today?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So, I grew up a big sports fan. I grew up loving the University of Oklahoma Sooners and going to OU football and basketball games. And, that was the highlight of my life, getting to go to sports with my family, with my dad, with my brother. And those memories have lasted a lifetime, and I'll take them to my grave, as some of the greatest memories of my life. And because of that passion I had for going to events, I think that drew me into working in sports. I worked for the University of Oklahoma athletic department for 3 years before launching my company. And it's one of those deals where you look back and years later you realize why you are where you are. And I think it's because, I went into sports marketing because I wanted to give that same experience to other fans. It didn't have to be Oklahoma, it could be anywhere, just because those were so special to me growing up and having that connection and that time with my father, my family, my brother, my friends, whoever it was. Sports provides that opportunity to connect with people that in a way that a lot of hardly anything provides. You stand there and the emotion involved, you go to a movie and it's just not the same thing. You can get emotionally involved in the movie, but it's not happening live. It's just a different deal. And that is why I do what I do, because I want to help create those connections. Really, why give people the opportunity to sharing those experiences with their loved ones, like I did.
That makes perfect sense, and it certainly is something that people feel a lot of passion about.
Absolutely. Sports it runs in our blood. It doesn't. There are very few things that people get as excited about as sporting events.
Or competitive about as well.
Right, exactly, sure.
Seeing that I'm from Texas and you're from Oklahoma.
Oh, wow.
We have a little bit right there, right?
I didn't realize that. Wow. Yeah, we won't get into that.
There you go. So it's not just sports. It goes across entertainment venues. It also goes into music, because I'm hearing this from a lot of different labels and different outlets who are trying to put together true large-scale events, and audiences are dropping.
Yeah, it's not isolated to sporting events, and that's with what we do, our philosophies and tactics and expertise is applicable across any platform or any venue where you're trying to drive attendance. Because, like you mentioned, attendance isn't just dropping at sporting events; it's dropping at movie theaters, it's dropping at concerts, and I think that has to do with the access that people have now that we didn't used to have. When I was growing up, even 20 years ago, 15 years ago, a lot of the events you could only see if you were there. And now, whether it's concerts, you can live stream concerts on Netflix now. Who was it recently that did that? I think it was Taylor Swift had her concert on Netflix. And sporting events, whereas you could only listen to them on the radio or watch them on a tiny little terrible picture screen. Now you can walk around the mall and watch it on your handheld device. Movie theaters, you can, we don't want people doing it, but you can download the newest releases immediately and watch it on your computer screen, or at home where you have the great surround sound or the unbelievable giant picture. And it's just so people are electing to stay home because honestly, home offers as good a quality product a lot of times as attending.
Well, and maybe we're just not lazy a little bit, but we're overwhelmed with the different opportunities that are out there, and there's only so much time in the day.
We have more options for entertainment than we ever have. So, again, I'm going to keep drawing on my own experience, but when I was growing up, I grew up on a farm in Oklahoma. My options for entertainment on a Saturday were pretty limited. It was either go to the OU football game or not. That was about all I had. And now, like you said, you got too many options for entertainment. So many things competing for our time, and unfortunately, it's all at our fingertips. You don't even have to get out of your chair. So I don't know that it's laziness. It's convenience. It's easy. Why would you go spend a bunch of money to do something that you can do for free, sitting right where you are?
Sure, with a perfect view of a screen, with no heads in front of you, no conversations that are taking you away from whatever passion is holding your interest.
Absolutely, yeah.
And damaging your experience.
Right, absolutely. It's not hot. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. There aren't sticky floors. There aren't, not the obnoxious drunk person next to you. It just, again, the home experience has trumped going to events, unfortunately, now. And
it's a lot more affordable.
Right. Absolutely.
So what can people do about this?
That's a great question. It's a question that we try to answer. My book that I've written, and it's a question we help organizations answer on a daily basis. That's what we do. The answer is we have to start marketing our products no differently than anybody else markets their products. For 100 years, we didn't have to market our events nearly like we do now because we were the only game in town. It was the only option. Entertainment options were so limited. It was a matter of saying, hey, this artist is going to be performing, and people showed up because they didn't have another option. Texas is going to be playing this Saturday, so people went. Right. So we didn't have to market it. We didn't have to do all of the things that Ford does or Wrigley does or Dr. Pepper does to market their products. We simply had to publicize that the game was going on or the movie was going on or whatever it was, and people showed up. And we got spoiled. The entertainment industry got spoiled by having decades long of not actually having to market their product the same as all the other industries have to market. And it's as simple as that. That doesn't mean it's easy, but it's as simple as identifying what is unique about your product, identifying what is unique about your market, and who the potential customers are, purchasers of your product, and then marketing it to those people and reminding them why showing up is better than staying home.
Sure. Does that also include needing to not just market differently, but actually to have on-site experiences that are different?
I'm glad you said that because I just earlier today was giving a talk about the fact that for years and years, the product we were selling was the product on the field or the product on the screen or the product on the stage. That's not our product anymore. Our product is the experience. So it's about one, providing an unbelievable experience that's aside from what's happening on the field of play or on the stage. You have to, everything about the experience has to be amazing. It has to be something people want to show up for, because again, back to my original point, you don't have to show up to see the product on the field anymore. So the product being that experience is that experience has to be amazing. From the second you walk in the gates, from your customer service to your concession options to the just everything about it has to be top notch. It's not enough to be good anymore. It has to be great.
Yeah. No, we were just talking, I was talking with my team the other day, and, you know, someone's a Giants fan and we live in Los Angeles, right? So we're Dodgers.
Right.
Like, you live in Los Angeles, you should convert. Doesn't happen.
Sure.
But it came down to, you know, stadiums. You know, San Diego has an awesome stadium. The food is great. The alcohol is great. Giant stadium. Awesome. Dodger Stadium. Old.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, you have to, and that's another thing places are fighting, because you have to, again, have an amazing venue, and with suites and club seats, and that, you know, that lends itself to there are two main, we've done a ton of research on this topic, and there are two main reasons people attend events versus staying at home. It doesn't matter what the event is, whether it's sports or entertainment. There are two reasons they go: for the experience, which we've talked about, and for the social aspect of attending. If you ask fans or attendees of anything, those are the two main reasons they go out. Well, we've built these venues. A lot of places have built venues that allow, one, the great experience, and two, the opportunity to be social. If you put your fans in the stands, you know, on these bleachers, the only people they can be social with are the people, you know, sitting right around them. And a lot of times you don't want to be social with them. But so they've created these clubs and these loge boxes and these suites and all these opportunities to be social. And if you look, that's where people are, you know, those are sold out, you know, across the board. By and large, that's what's selling. It's the bleacher seats that we're having trouble getting people in. So again, creating that amazing experience with great venues and so forth, but also providing the opportunity for people to socialize. And it's hard, because you sit down and what's in front of you is all you have. So you have to figure out ways to create that social interaction digitally somehow. How, you know, there are a plethora of ways you can do that. But, you know, simply saying, hey, we have a game going on, come sit and watch it is not enough anymore.
Sure. No, I think even the Ritz has a hospitality program. A friend of mine's business does it as well, where the NFL is now trying to actually train concierge service to their food vendors, to their security, to all the different people there, so that they can have a plussed up experience.
Yeah, absolutely. That's brilliant. That's what it's going to take is treating our sports venues, our entertainment venues like they're, you know, high-end hotels. Providing that first-class experience across the board, because, you know, if you, again, back to the home experience, if you can make whatever you want in your kitchen or order it now from Uber Eats and it shows up at your door. If you go to the stadium and they have three options, the concession stand, that are $9 for a bad cheeseburger, and you have to wait in a long line to get it, why am I going? Why would I do it? So I think that I hadn't heard that, but that's brilliant. Yeah, giving that, you know, I do talk to a lot of athletic organizations that we've worked with have done the whole Disney World. I don't remember what it's called, but where you go, the Disney World University basically, and you go learn it all. And they're trying. Thankfully, the industry is trying and realizing there is a need for that kind of thing. But it's going to take a lot. It's, you know, it's, again, customer service, venues, as you mentioned. The pregame has to be amazing. The halftime has to be amazing. The video board interaction has to be amazing. If it's a concert, the same deal. Everything about it has to be amazing.
And then there's also the various generations, right? So your baby boomers are reacting
Mhm.
differently, your Gen X differently, your millennials, and your Gen Zs are wanting to stay home and watch something on their phone and interact with their friends while watching the concert and not leave the house. They don't even have driver's license in a lot of cases anymore.
That's true. Unfortunately for marketers, we have more generations to try to market to now than ever. You know, you mentioned the baby boomers, and unfortunately, especially on the collegiate athletics side, the baby boomers are the ones that are writing the big checks, the fund, donating the money. So there's this balance of how do you make them happy by having the tradition and the nostalgia and the marching band playing, and appeal to the millennials and the Gen Z or the Gen Xers that maybe want music playing in a loud, exciting environment, and then you got the Gen Zs that who knows what's going to bring them in. I referenced this in my book, and I've talked a lot about it. Gen Z, apparently we have 7 seconds to grab their attention which is down from 15 seconds with millennials. I mean, how do you 7 seconds to grab somebody's attention before they're on to something else? I call them, I coined the term the squirrel generation from the movie Up, where the dog sees the squirrel, every sound thinks it's a squirrel because they're that distracted.
Right.
So it's you got one product that you're selling, but you have to market it 4 different ways to 4 different generations, and it's not easy. It's not easy.
And so, any tricks of the trade that you suggest? You have a lot of options out there in different directions you can go, but where should someone start?
I think so. One comparison I always use when I'm talking about this is because of most of what we do is in the sports world. We have, if you're working for a sports organization, you have coaches down the hall, right? That are preparing their team to take the field. These coaches are spending hours, days on research, right? They're researching their opponents. We don't do that in marketing nearly to the extent that the guys down the hall are doing to defeat their opponents. A major college football program will spend upwards of 20,000 hours a year researching their opponents, researching themselves, developing strategies based on that research, and only then form a game plan to try to defeat their opponent. In marketing, we jump to the end. We're like, I got a plan without knowing who our opponents are, without knowing anything about ourselves. So the trick is spending the time researching. This can be done. Marketing works. It's a fact. I mean, you do this for a living too. I don't have to convince you. Marketing works. But you got to do it right. So the tip, unfortunately, there's no magic bullet. There's no one size fits all solution in marketing, because SMU in a market like a small private school in a market like Dallas is going to market entirely differently than Alabama, who a giant school in a small market. So you can't take that, well, SMU did it and it worked, so we're going to do it in Tuscaloosa. Or this concert venue in Memphis did it, or Nashville did it, probably a better example. So we're going to do it in Oklahoma City. It's just different. So you gotta do the research. You gotta dig in and invest in the proper amount of time and money in the research side.
Okay. And what would you say are the biggest challenges there, besides time and money?
I mean, it's I guess convincing the people with the purse strings that are controlling the purse strings to do that. The information's out there. You just got to go get it, and then dedicate yourselves, I guess, to following a plan that's based in that research. I say this like it's easy. It's not. It's not easy. But we. we have to do something. The college football attendance has been on a steady decline for 7 years straight. We had the worst attendance this in 2018 yeah, than we've had in 34 years. So something has to be done. And as we've talked about, it's not just sports; it's everything. People are not coming. So. I could talk about examples all day long of things we've seen that have been really cool and I think are headed in the right direction. SMU turned their student section into a party deck, which I thought was brilliant, and they've had some missteps with it, but they're working through it and they're getting it right. And 1,000 students on a party deck looks really, really cool and fun, and on camera looks great. 1,000 students in a 5,000 seat section doesn't look very fun and appealing. The tailgating experiences are amazing and can really, you show up for the tailgate. Well, you're there. You might as well go into the game. So there was University of North Texas held a professional wrestling event. They brought back former professional wrestlers, like from when I was a kid, Hacksaw Jim Dugan and Junkyard Dog and the Von Erichs, these people who most people listening probably have never heard of, but I've heard of because when I was 8, I watched professional wrestling. So they had this on the field, they had a professional wrestling event. It's stuff like that. It's crazy ideas like that are going to reverse this trend and get people there. But then, as we discussed, you got to give them an amazing experience so they'll keep coming back.
Right. Even the Super Bowl, 2 days ago, for anyone who's listening to this, we're dating our podcast right now.
Yeah.
But, they're saying at least a decline of about 5%, I think, in viewership overall, because there wasn't anything super special to bring people in.
And that's the tough part is you rely on the people, the opponents a lot of times determine viewership.
Yeah.
People were not excited about the Patriots being in another Super Bowl.
Right.
So a lot of times it's out of our hands.
Right.
Which even drives home the point even more that there are so many things we can't control about the event. So control the things you can and market the things you can control, because ultimately, all my career, my book is called "Winning is Not a Strategy," and I'm not trying to plug my book over and over here. I'm pointing out that "Winning is Not a Strategy" is the name of the book because. All my career I've heard, if we'll just start winning games, attendance will take care of itself. Well, even if that's true, which it's not, the data does not support it, but even if that's true, why would we even say that? We have no control over whether or not the team wins. We have no control if you own a concert venue. We have no control over how good the performance is going to be. Why are we no other industry ever says, well, let's wait till the product gets good and then we'll market it. We don't even have to, because it'll sell itself at that point. It's crazy talk to even say those types of things, but that's what you hear in sports and entertainment is let's wait till it's good and then it'll sell itself. And we as marketers then don't have to do anything anyway.
Do you think that it is almost insurmountable as far as the deep collapse of attendance? Is it something that with the massive amounts of content we're all being exposed to, we're being grabbed from every direction all over the place, is this something that is just going to be a continuing trend, or can people figure it out? Can events figure this out to fill the seats?
I think it'll level out. I think there's a point at which there will be, just like there are enough people to support, everything out there. We always have more people, and they all want something to do with their time. So even though there are tons of options, there are still going to be enough buyers of that product. I just think that especially in sports, we got so spoiled, and we were expecting 60, 70, 80, 90,000 people to show up. And it's probably past the point of expecting that every time, unless you're a Michigan or an Alabama. So setting the expectations a little bit lower, generating revenue in other ways, but I don't think it's insurmountable. We definitely can't stop trying because then it all goes away, and we don't have Major League Baseball anymore. We don't have college football anymore, whatever it is. So no, I would, I can't sit here. I make my living convincing athletic programs, entertainment venues to hire us to help them drive attendance. So certainly wouldn't sit here and say that it's insurmountable. I do think the industry has to change its expectations, though, and maybe get accustomed to. There are stadiums that are reducing their seating capacity, converting those stands and bleachers into suites and club seats, like we talked about, to provide those social opportunities. So it's to answer your question, no. This is a trend we can reverse, but we have to again change our expectations a bit, I think.
Okay. Is there any other insight that you can share about the direction this is going?
Oh man, probably. Let me think. We so for so long we relied on emotional marketing tactics. So one thing we promote pretty heavily is getting away from the emotional reasons to attend an event. Showing a TV spot or a piece of print collateral or a billboard, promoting or having it with an athlete that's larger than life, or in the commercial example, slam dunks or 3-pointers or big hits or touchdown passes. Everybody's got every football team has touchdown passes. Every basketball team makes 3-pointers. So simply showing that as the excitement. Well, everybody's got that one. Two, as we see in so many examples of sales and marketing, the emotional stuff wears off. When you, just like in everyday life, if you get really excited about something, it wears off quickly. The rational, the logical reasons to do something, though, that sticks around. And so that is something that we have really tried to promote to our clients, is focus on the rational, the logical, the factual reasons people should attend your events, and stop focusing on the emotional stuff, because like I said, one, everybody's got that. Two, that wears off. If I see I always compare it to if somebody, if you're at the checkout line and you see the M&Ms, your emotions get fired up and you want to make that impulse buy. Well, either you buy it and you regret it, or you gobble them up and you regret it, or you don't buy them and you don't regret it. Either way, 5 minutes later, that's gone. You don't have those emotions anymore. You don't want the M&Ms anymore, right? Well, same deal. You see a TV spot that has that emotion. 5 minutes later, that's worn off. So if you focus on that rational, logical reasons to attend, whether it's value, family value, taking your kids to a game day or whatever it is, those other reasons to attend beyond the emotion, I think that's the sweet spot.
Okay, so focusing on things that actually have greater value to people versus the intrinsic, I need it now.
Right, exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that makes sense. Is there any other advice you want to share with our listeners today?
Good question. The advice goes back to my idea, the idea of investing the time in the research and doing not jumping straight to the end, not jumping straight to the creative. That's where what we always want to do is get to the creative, because that's the fun part. But invest in the why. Why behind the what. Everybody's heard that term, but figuring out why, and then create the what. If that makes sense.
That absolutely does. So I think our listeners might have a clue that you've written a book.
Yes, sorry, I've probably plugged that way too many times. That is definitely, that was not my goal. Just, but the book is called "Winning Is Not a Strategy." It is available on Amazon, and then you can follow me on Twitter at Zac Logsdon. This is at ZACLOGSDON.
And that will be in our show notes as well.
Awesome.
Zac, thank you so much for being on today. Greatly loved hearing all things, and we will talk in the near future.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.